Welcome back to the Burn with Ryan Van Deer, presented to you by Hot Zone Sports. The information that you need to know, built with you in mind, for the people, by the people, and with the people. Join the Hot Zone Sports community today. Now, on today, Saturday, September 21st, boy, do we have a banger for you today. But before we get to the episode, make sure you like the videos, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets dominated the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. Led by Aaron Rodgers and a smothering defense, the New York Jets beat the New England Patriots 24-3 on Thursday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers passed for 281 yards and 2 touchdowns on 27 of 35 passes, and the Jets defense recorded a whopping 7 sacks. Drake Maye, the quarterback from the Patriots, drafted 3rd overall, earlier this year made his NFL debut in the 4th quarter, completing 4 of 8 passes. Stepping onto MetLife Stadium field for the first regular season game since suffering that infamous Achilles tear just 4 snaps into his 2023 season, Rodgers looked like, well, Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers' ability to throw on the run on Thursday night was noticeably more prolific than the first 2 weeks of the regular season. In those prior contests, Rodgers completed just 1 of his 4 pass attempts on the run for 6 yards. Yeah. Rodgers completed all 5 of his passes on the run, moving 8+ miles per hour for 62 yards and a touchdown, according to Next Gen Stats. He didn't throw an interception, but he did take 2 sacks. He also had 3 runs for 18 yards. In the second quarter, Rodgers moved the chain on a 3rd and 6 situation thanks to that newfound mobility with the pocket collapsing in front of him. He rolled out to his left and found Allen Lazard for a running throw that went for 27 yards. While Rodgers was largely on the move to set up the pass on Thursday, he did show that he could take some abuse when tucking and running as well. Specifically, he did a fantastic job on a 2nd and 9 play in the early portion of the 3rd quarter. Rodgers evaded a would-be sack from Patriots linebacker Anthony Jennings, climbed the pocket, and ran up the left sideline. As he was running out of bounds, Rodgers was hit awkwardly by defensive end Keon White. But he bounced right back up. Surprise from everyone. While that play likely made all of East Rutherford's hearts come to a complete halt, it's a key development to see Rodgers be able to absorb that type of hit with relative ease. In many ways, the Jets' 24-3 victory over the Patriots was the first time fans got to see vintage Rodgers in person as a New York Jet. Efficient, mobile, dominant, and in control. Just like Katy Perry's song goes, New York's offense has been running a bit hot and cold through the first 2 weeks of the season. But we could be looking at a turning point for the unit with Rodgers unlocking his mobility yet again. If so, the Jets could prove to be one of the more dangerous teams in what feels like a largely open AFC. Ball distribution was a big part of Rodgers' night. Conklin had a great night as he caught 5 passes for 93 yards. But 8 different Jets caught passes, including Garrett Wilson, who snagged his first touchdown pass from Rodgers in the second half. In this game, In particular, Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers. He didn't look like this versus the 49ers, and he definitely didn't look like this versus the Titans. He just looked patient and in control of everything against the Patriots. If he continues to play this way on this trajectory and with that type of run game, they could have a chance to take this division. Another thing I noticed that will only help him and the Jets is his leadership. His teammates listen to him, and you can see that body language from everyone on the team, and you can see how much respect they have for this guy, as they should. And then you can also see how much they value Rodgers. The way he was directing traffic and engaging with his teammates last night was just a big win for the team. It just gave the team a value of trust for Aaron Rodgers. And if you're Garrett Wilson, I will tell you, I would do all of the little things that Rodgers is having you do, because there's a wide receiver in Las Vegas named Davante Adams that he helped elevate into the player that he could possibly be, a first ballot Hall of Famer. But when you have a legit defense that played like it for the first time this season, it's easy to dominate a game the way the Jets did. They held the Patriots to 40 offensive yards in the first half and 139 yards for the game. It's pretty easy to be relaxed when your defense stops the opposition like they did. It's a lot like last year when the Jets defense kept them in most of the games when Aaron Rodgers was injured all of last season. I mean, you had Zach Wilson and at quarterback, and the Jets were still a competitive team. But when you have Aaron Rodgers playing like Aaron Rodgers, and you have the Jets defense playing the way they are supposed to, then you have something a lot of teams in the NFL do not have: balance. I mean, just keeping it 100. If that defense plays like that every single week, there are not going to be a lot of teams that can beat the Jets. I see the Jets defense as a good defense, not a great defense. We saw against the 49ers, a team that is built to run the football. They can attack the Jets defense. That is their weakness: run defense. Patriots struggles versus the Jets. All right. So the Patriots have been dominant for the most part of the past 20 years. So seeing the Patriots team struggle mightily in a game is still new to me. It's just a little odd not seeing Bill Belichick on the sideline, but instead, Gerard Mayo. Coming into the season, I told many people that if the Patriots can run the football efficiently and just gain some yards with the passing game, the defense should be able to carry them the rest of the way. In some of those games, it worked. It worked against Cincinnati. It did not work Thursday night against the Jets, because they are running into a problem where they don't have a lot of weapons in the passing game. Jalen Polk has just disappeared. The big problem is the Patriots have to be able to run the ball efficiently with that offensive line that they have, and they just can't do that. The offensive line is just too damn choppy. You went into the season with Tyquan Thorne and Demario Davis at wide receiver. Yeah. If you are not a Patriots fan, have you ever heard those names in your life? The answer would be no. Those guys just are not first or second wide receivers. They are third wide receivers, if anything. If you are a Patriots fan, I am sorry, because they just don't have any production on the offensive side of the ball. Nothing that leaves you from every game screaming encouragement. This is not a team that can go down 14 points and come back on their running attack. You saw on Thursday night, as evidence, this team will try to run and run and run some more and come back and even up the score, but they just can't do it. And they do not have the quarterback to be able to come from behind. Even if they threw Drake Maye in there, they would still have issues because, once again, the offensive line is absolutely horrendous. Jacoby Brissett couldn't even recognize that the blitz was coming on Thursday night. There's an inside blitz, outside blitz. He could not figure out that the blitz was coming. You have to be able to see that safety creeping down to the line of scrimmage, and you have to be able to call it out to your offensive line. That way you can change your protection. This is not anything new. This is elementary, if anything. But let's say the Patriots decide it is Drake Maye's time. Don't do that to this man. Do not do that to him when you have the type of offensive line that is standing in front of him, because this would be considered capital murder and charges would be issued unless you want Bryce Young 2.0. Not to pick on Bryce Young, but do not put Drake Maye in this situation. Do not put him in this season. He's getting 30% of the snaps at practice. I know it's practice and you need live game opportunity. But when you have that offensive line, it is not going to end well. You need to give your offensive line some time to adapt and improve and progress throughout the season and make changes so that you can protect Drake, your valuable investment that you made in the NFL draft. I understand. I fully understand. As NFL fans, we want to see our teams win. And we want to see our rookie quarterbacks, our rookie stars, whether it's wide receiver, tight end, running back. We want to see them out there. We want to be able to watch them progress. The Carolina Panthers wanted to do the same thing. But the Panthers pretty much ruined Bryce Young when it came to offensive line last season. It almost looked like he was too scared to stand in the pocket and deliver a pass. He looked skittish in his last game. Looked like he was terrified for his life. So you do not want to throw Drake Maye out there. But hey, one good thing might come from Carolina is the fact that, hey, Bryce Young might have some suitors. I hear the Miami Dolphins need a quarterback. Just throwing it out there. But you do not want to ruin Drake Maye because Jacoby Brissett cannot even recognize a blitz. He cannot throw it downfield. You have to be patient with your team. The Patriots are a team that is going to have a top 5 pick. Yeah, did they surprise everybody by beating Cincinnati? Yes, they actually did. But you weren't going to do that week in and week out. And we saw on Thursday night against the New York Jets with the New England Patriots actually were a team that when they play from behind, it is not feasible to do so. This is not a team that can play from behind. They are not built this way. They're not built any type of way right now. So take your time. I do see the Patriots as a possible 4.5 to 5 win team this season. Just as I said in the preseason. It won't be too bad of a season, but you aren't going to the Super Bowl. You won't make it to the playoffs. You're basically just going to have to build your roster, and you're definitely going to have to improve that offensive line before you throw Drake Maye to the Wolves. Shohei Ohtani. No, we had to get into this. Ohtani is now the first player with 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a season. I heard that 50th home run is actually going for $1 million, but the guy that caught it doesn't want to sell it. Good for him. I don't know. I'd give it to Shohei myself, but whatever. What is even more remarkable about his season is that he's not pitching and he's not fielding this season. This is a rehab year for him. In other words, he's not fully healthy. When he was asked what he thought, this is funny, about his 50-50 club, Ohtani simply stated, "I just wanted it to be over with." He's humble as well. If you haven't figured it out yet, he doesn't like attention. Is Shohei Ohtani the best major leaguer ever? He is the first six-tool player. This season, he is first in runs, second in hits, first in extra base hits, first in home runs, first in RBIs, first in OPS, first in slugging percentage, first in total bases, and second in stolen bases. He just got passed up. Power hitters are not supposed to steal bases. Power hitters are meant to be slow. Imagine Babe Ruth. And guys who steal bases don't hit 50 home runs. They're twitchy, but they don't have the power to consistently hit home runs. Ohtani single-handedly pummeled the Miami Marlins on Thursday. He went 6 for 6, slugged 3 home runs, drove in 10 runs, and swiped 2 bases. In a game that also clinched the Dodgers a postseason berth. And had Ohtani not gotten thrown out trying to leg out a triple in his third at bat, he'd have added his second career cycle as well. No player in baseball history has hit 3 homers and stolen multiple bases in a game until Ohtani did on Thursday. No player has collected more total bases, 17, in a multi-steal game, smashing the previous mark of 11, the likes of Kirk Gibson and Brago Roth. No player since at least 1901 has collected at least 5 hits, hit multiple home runs, and stolen multiple bases in the same game. According to OptaStats, no player since 1920 has ever had a 10 RBI day, a 6-hit day, a 5 extra base hit day, a 3 homer day, and a multi-steal day within their career. Ohtani crammed all that production into a single Thursday afternoon during a 20-4 thrashing of the Marlins. Ohtani might have reached 50-50, but it remains to be seen how far into uncharted territory he can venture in homers and steals. There's also the matter of the playoffs. The 92-62 Dodgers clinched a place in the playoffs Thursday and hold a 4-game lead over the San Diego Padres for the NL West title with 8 games to go. What you can say about Ohtani is he has been absolutely, historically ridiculous. I don't think the Dodgers truly understood what they were signing when they signed him. He is transformational, he is generational, and there's no doubt about it. What is even more crazy is when he was signed years ago, there was a scout that said that he was going to struggle hitting the baseball. Yep, I think he surpassed those expectations. Now let's move on to some fantasy football. In this new segment, for the burn, this is what we like to call start 'em if you got 'em. In this segment, we are going to go through the best starts of the week. And if you got them, start them. Lock them in. Brock Purdy. He has played pretty well this season. He leads the NFL in passing yards with 551. Now he's going up against the Rams, who have allowed the fourth most fantasy points this season to quarterbacks. The Rams are absolutely in shambles right now with the slew of injuries that just keep mounting. But the Rams have allowed 4 touchdown passes on the season. But I hear you. Ryan, did you see the Rams-Cardinals game last week? They got blown out, man. What happens if the 49ers do the same and Purdy doesn't play the full game? I got you. Kyler Murray was throwing touchdown passes all day long. And if a blowout does happen, I expect Purdy to sling the ball around and do the same thing Kyler Murray did. He's got the weapons, and it's just going to happen because the Rams are they are in really bad shape right now. So if you got them, start them. Joe Burrow. Week 1 wasn't that great. This we all know. Hell, people were clamoring that he was still injured while Burrow was imploring everyone, was imploring the entire football world that he wasn't. That's how bad week 1 was. Week 1 could have gone better. This we know. Week 2, a lot better production-wise, and you can expect week 3 to be even better than that. Jamar Chase is in better shape, being his second week back. T. Higgins is supposed to be back as well, and they're playing Washington, who, yes, blitz a ton, but they are hardly ever getting home on those blitzes. They are one of the top teams in the NFL on blitz rates, but they're bottom 10 in the league in pressures. So, yes, they are not getting home. They're sending all that pressure. But the good news for Joe Burrow is that it gets picked up. And even better news for Joe Burrow owners. Start him if you got him. Derrick Henry. I know. You must be thinking, is this guy crazy? Maybe. I don't know. Does he know anything? He sure does. You just pay attention. I get it. Henry has had a rough start in his new home. But this week, he's going to have a good game. It's a great matchup for him. The Ravens are playing the Cowboys. Side note, for all your Caitlin Clark lovers out there, it's going to be played at the same time Caitlin Clark and the Fever play the Connecticut Sun in the WNBA playoffs. But I digress. Back on topic. Dallas has allowed the most fantasy points per game to running backs this season, and Derrick Henry is one of 9 running backs who have a rushing touchdown in each game this season. I mean, honestly, did you see Kamara just go absolutely nuclear last week? Derrick Henry is going to have a real opportunity to get down and run downhill against the Cowboys defense. Almost to the point to where you could play a little bit of Justice Hill in there too. But the Ravens in reality need a breakout game from Henry. The Ravens are 0-2. You spent a nice chunk of cap space to acquire this guy, and Henry needs to prove it now. And what a better time than against America's team, or so I've been told for the last 30 years, the Dallas Cowboys, coming off an absolutely dreadful loss. Jordan Mason. Do you remember his name? Well, you better. And with Christian McCaffrey being out again, you better have him rostered. Up to this point, he has rushed for 48 attempts this season, which is tied for the most in the NFL. Did you know the 49ers absolutely, unequivocally love to run the ball. If you've been living under a rock, well, now you know. Okay, so I know that you have a question. What happens if the 49ers are just beating the dog piss out of the Ravens? Well, they're going to continue to pound that rock relentlessly and effectively against the soft Rams defense that have injuries everywhere. Mason has a touchdown in each of his last two starts. They're going up against a Rams defense who severely miss Aaron Donald. They had to know that replacing him was going to be a massive overtaking, especially when there wasn't anybody that was even close to his talent that they could draft or bring in. But it's obvious that they also missed linebacker Ernest Jones, who was traded away to the Tennessee Titans. Mason is getting the lion's share of the snaps. Behind him, the rest of the running backs have a combined 4 snaps all season. It is the Jordan Mason show in San Francisco. And if you got him, start him. DJ Moore. The Colts have been gashed for a league-high 175 running back rushing yards per game to open the season, but that's helped by an NFL high 93 rushing attempt volume. Might not be there for the Bears with Indianapolis. Slightly favored on Sunday. I think it's a 1.5 point spread at this point. Do not touch it, bettors. Do not touch it. It's not good. Anyway, the Colts are slightly favored on Sunday, and DeAndre Swift has struggled so far this season. DJ Moore is Chicago's clear wide receiver 1, with Keenan Allen still being out of the lineup, and with Rome Odunze playing through a sprained MCL. Chicago's offense has been an absolute unmitigated disaster to start off the season, but Moore gets a favorable matchup indoors against a Colts defense that is allowing the 5th most fantasy points to wide receivers. Yeah. He is receiving a 28.6% target share this season, which is the 11th highest among wide receivers. I expect the Bears to pound the football at the Colts defense, setting up the pass game even more for Chicago, and then I expect Moore to have a big game this week as a result. Caleb Williams has done an all right job as a rookie. I know everybody is expecting the gold standard when it came to Caleb Williams, but he is a rookie, and no rookie has ever came into this league and dominated it from the rip. Back on topic, Caleb Williams and the team will find ways to help him along further in the progression process, and what better than DJ Moore? Maybe Caleb can even get his first touchdown pass this season. If you have him on your team, start him. Khalil Shakur. He seems to be on the same wavelength as Josh Allen. He leads the team in targets, receptions, and receiving yards this season. And Jacksonville has allowed the 2nd most receiving yards to wide receivers this season. In an NFL where we're seeing a lot of dink and dunk, he's averaging 6 air yards per target. This offense serves him well. You have Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid clearing the way, and Shakir settles in under the zone pretty effectively. Josh Allen has been finding him pretty effectively as well. and I expect that to continue big time this week. Start that man, Brock Bowers. This rookie has probably been the most effective pass catcher for tight ends so far this season. He has 17 targets, 15 receptions for 156 yards this season. That ranks most among all tight ends. You see Brock Bowers play, and you just can't help but be reminded of Travis Kelce at his pinnacle. Brock Bowers has been one of the most consistent guys in the NFL for tight ends. This man needs to be in your lineup every single week. He is a must start. There is nothing else to say about this man. If you got him, start him. Kyle Pitts, on to another tight end. Pitts saw his route share fall from 96% in week 1 down to 73%. And he sports a lowly 11% air yards share through 2 games. So why am I saying start him? Drafting Pitts over Brock Bowers was a mistake that many made. But Pitts should remain in fantasy lineups this week. He could be much busier against a Kansas City defense that is allowing the 4th fewest fantasy points to running backs, and they are likely going to pay a lot more attention to taking away Drake Maye. Meanwhile, the Chiefs have allowed by far the most fantasy points to tight ends this year. Pitts is moving better this season, and Kirk Cousins has quieted concern that he is washed and that he is dog water with an improved week 2 performance and a comeback for the freaking ages. Good night. Tight end production has been dramatically down across the league, and all 7 of Pitt's career touchdowns have come at home. So he's still a top 7 option for the week, in my eyes. Pitts is leading the team in end zone targets this season, and Kansas City has allowed the most targets, receptions, and receiving yards to tight ends this season. The Chiefs gave up big yards to Gesicki last week and big yards to Isaiah Likely the week before. Remember, it's just a toe. This kind of feels like a get-right game for Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins, to be honest with you. So that is it for Start 'em If You Got 'em. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and do so. We really do appreciate it. And we are on all social media. We are on Instagram. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. We're on them all. So if you have not followed us or subscribed to us, go ahead and do so. Let's push that needles. And just make sure you join Hot Zone Sports Net. I hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday and get ready for some Sunday football all day. That is it for the podcast. So this is me signing out. Have a great day, everyone.